This is a standing yoga sequence for mindfulness-based stress reduction. Practicing with this recording offers an opportunity to more fully connect with the body, noticing what arises in awareness from moment to moment, attuning to sensations, feeling tones, what may be either experienced as pleasant, unpleasant, or simply neutral, as well as thoughts and emotions. Opening, as much as possible, to be with how things are in a non judging way, neither forcing nor straining. Just being receptive as you move along with this practice offers important measures of welcome and kindness to what's here, along with support and nourishment for well being. In the same way as the other practices being offered, setting aside the time and space where you may be free from interruptions and comfortable is important. Once again, choose clothing that supports unrestricted breathing and movement, which is in alignment with the intention for this practice. In this practice, open and following along with the guidance as it is offered is the best way the body will allow for practice. Resist any impulse to strain, attuning to the sensations that arise through the movement from within the body itself. Knowing the body's abilities and limits is important. It's more important than following any of the cues I may offer. If any movement is not possible or wise at this time, please modify or adjust the instructions, or simply pause in a comfortable posture and imagine doing the movement instead. As the series of movements unfold, bring curiosity and close attention to what arises in the body-mind, including any sense of doing well or of struggle, judgment, or a comparing mind state. When mind states such as this arise, we can open and investigate with greater warmth and kindness, letting go of any expectations or conditions that may be surfacing in awareness. Just being here, moving in whatever way may be possible and wise, simply being with it all as it's arising moment to moment, with as much care and compassion as is possible. In this way, it may become possible to see how things are constantly shifting, even if only in very subtle ways. Things may not be as fixed or rigid as they otherwise appear. The practice may bring this possibility into greater awareness. Know, too, this practice is oriented toward exploring and honoring limits. Each practice invites a fresh opportunity to explore the boundary of what is right, investigating what is happening within the body, including along the contours of what's possible today in the body. Noticing what's shifting and changing moment by moment. Knowing the body and its capacity, as well as the ways in which the heart and the mind relate to the body, can lead to greater wisdom and a deeper way of knowing and relating to the moment. So now, to begin, we will start with mountain pose, a pose that invites solidity and stability. Standing upright, placing the feet hips width apart, parallel to one another, with the toes pointing straight ahead. Feeling here into the contact of the feet with the floor. Perhaps lifting and wiggling the toes a bit if you like. Widening awareness of the whole base of the foot and releasing the toes to rest once again on the floor. Pausing to invite here a greater sense of connection with the ground. Anchoring awareness into the experience of being grounded. Now exploring a bit how the weight of the body is held by the feet. Here, moving the weight of the body forward over the toes. Then shifting the weight backward toward the heels. exercising care here to maintain balance. And then, when ready, moving the body's weight slowly side to side. Noticing where in the body muscles tighten, others relax. Feeling into the flow, as well as the body's ability to maintain its uprightness. And now allowing the body to return to center with the weight directly over the feet, seeing how the weight distributes itself across the feet, from back to front, from side to side. And it may be possible to notice that while pausing into stillness, there remains some degree of movement, however slight it may be. Now inviting awareness to move into the lower legs and knees. Noticing how the knees are positioned over the ankles. Pausing here to see whether the knees may be soft or locked. Inviting a gentle bend here, supporting a degree of buoyancy in both knee joints. With the knees resting in stillness, guiding awareness to the region of the pelvis. Noticing how the pelvis rests above the feet, ankles, and knees, supported by the lower body. Awareness here including the front and the back of the pelvis, including its sides. Sensing whether the pelvis may be tipped forward or toward the back. Inviting as much balance as is possible. Gently releasing the lower back. Establishing the pelvis in a neutral position, like a bowl of water where the water won't spill over the front, the sides, or the back. 2, holding a position that's not overly static or rigid. Noticing what's alive in awareness in this area of the body. Balancing and allowing the breath to flow naturally. And now, shifting intention to the entire torso, the full length of the body from the hips to the shoulders, including the spine and the front of the belly. Softening the shoulder blades, releasing them down and back, allowing the shoulders to widen as they rest directly over the hips, inviting the chest and the throat to open, placing and resting the arms with ease along the sides of the body, the hands and the fingers too invited to soften, making space for the breath to fill and flow through the whole torso. Sensing the opening of the ribs, perhaps each breath offering added space between each of the vertebrae of the spine. And with the head resting gently atop of the spine in a neutral position, or perhaps tipped just slightly forward. Holding the mouth, the jaws, the eye, the forehead with ease. Dropping in and being fully present to the body standing in mountain pose. Connecting to the strength and stability of this pose. Rooted, upright, alert, awake. And hear the breath, like the wind, continue to move freely and naturally, being present and alive. And from this mountain pose stance, turning the palms outward. And as the body inhales, moving the arms out to either side, raising them slowly overhead, but only as far as is possible in this moment. Lengthening through the torso, shoulders, arms, and fingers, stretching up through the entire body toward the sky. Allowing here the breath to continue moving. And then, when ready, on an out breath, with the palms facing down, gently moving the arms out and downward until they come to rest alongside the body. Then releasing all this effort, pausing once again in mountain pose. Now, with the palms facing up, lifting the arms with an inhale to the sides and up overhead. Continuing to breathe here. Noticing any tendency to pause the breath, allowing it to continue to flow and opening the body through the stretch. When you're ready, turning the palms down, exhaling, and bringing the arms slowly down alongside the body once again. Now, in concert with the natural rhythm of the breath, repeating this movement a few times. Turning the palms up, inhaling as the arms move out and rise overhead. Simply moving here at your own pace. And then returning to rest in mountain. Just settling. And with an in-breath, raising the right arm to the side, then stretching overhead, moving upward. Stretching as if you're trying to grasp a piece of fruit that's just a little bit out of reach. Then increasing the stretch slightly by lifting the opposite heel off the ground. Noticing limits, not pushing too far. Yet, investigating here the edge of what's possible today. As the arms return to the side of the body, opening awareness to register the effects of this one-sided stretch throughout the entire body. And, when ready, lifting the left arm to the side, continuing the movement gradually overhead, pausing, again, as if reaching for a piece of fruit that's just beyond the tips of the fingers. Inviting a stretch all the way through the side body, and extending the stretch by lifting the right heel off the ground to lengthen the left side of the body. Breathing, noticing the activity of the mind and any emotions that may surface into awareness. Considering what arises as the body is stretching in this way. Then gently lowering the heel and the arm. Letting all of the effort release settling again into mountain pose. From this foundation of mountain, now stretching both arms upward, linking the movement with the breath, reaching up, stretching through the whole length of the body, including its front, the back, and sides. And now, with the arms extended toward the sky, take hold of the right wrist with the left hand, extending the stretch any amount that may be possible here. Then leaning to the left, creating a gentle arc, stretching the whole right side of the body while continuing to breathe. Lingering here no longer than is right for you. Coming back to center. And when ready, changing hands, clasping the left wrist with the right hand, extending up ever so slightly, arching gently now to the right. Here, experiencing a stretch through the left side of the body. Coming back to center whenever ready with an exhale. And then slowly lowering the arms back to the sides. Taking time here. And returning to mountain pose. Breathing with ease and fully. Soaking into the body the full effects of this stretch. Moving awareness now to the shoulders, beginning by lifting the shoulders up and toward the ears, then gently rolling them back and down, moving the shoulders forward, closing the chest a bit here, and continuing on up, then back, down, and forward. Following your own pace here. Exploring the full range of motion while the shoulders are moving. Noticing whether one shoulder moves differently than the other. Welcoming curiosity. Noticing whatever is to be discovered in this moment. Now, moving the shoulders one at a time, or if you prefer, together, perhaps even in opposite directions. Then reversing the direction, moving the shoulders forward, down, back, and up. Continuing in this direction for several revolutions. Then, to end this sequence, pause by opening the chest, drawing the shoulder blades back and toward one another to counteract the usual tendency to hunch the shoulders, which constricts the chest area. And when ready, softening, pausing into stillness, registering into awareness the effects of the shoulder roll movements. With the breath continuing to move, noticing any sensations that are present. And turning the focus now to the neck area, opening to explore the full range of movement that is possible here. Begin by turning the head gently toward the left, noticing as the limit of this movement registers through muscle tension, pausing as this limit arrives, and breathing while remaining at the end of this movement. Then coming back to center, now turning the head to the right with care and kind attention, not moving beyond what is possible and wise. Then, when ready, coming back to center. Take a few moments now to repeat these movements in your own time, taking great care, noticing how each repetition changes and what may arise as you turn in either one direction or the other. Attuning here to the body and respecting its limits, completing the sequence of movements by returning to center, opening awareness to include what's arising in the body with feeling tones, as well as in the realm of mind and emotions. There may be warmth or sensations of tingling. Perhaps there's a sense of softening. And now, inviting the chin to move gently down toward the chest and collarbones. Taking care here to resist moving beyond what may be wise. Then, with awareness, raising the head back to center and lifting the head forward, looking up and down as if nodding a slow yes. Moving through this range a few times, registering the full range of sensations that may arise in the neck, while avoiding undue strain or injury. Then returning to center, working now along the sides of the neck, starting by lowering the right ear toward the right shoulder. Here, allowing both shoulders to soften, to remain at ease. Noticing a gentle stretch here as the body continues to breathe. And on an in-breath, moving the head back to center. Then lowering the left ear in turn toward the left shoulder. Pausing as the limit appears and breathing. Invite softening of the face and jaw as the breath flows naturally. When ready, then returning to center. Now expanding awareness to include the entire body. Regrounding in the solidity and stability of the mountain pose. Establishing a firm foundation, as if deeply rooted in the earth. And from this grounded stance, allowing the head, the neck, the spine to be held upright, feeling into the full length, breadth, and depth of the body. And breathing. Preparing to shift now into a balanced pose, steadying the gaze towards a fixed point on the wall directly in front of the body, or on the floor a few feet in front of the body. Establishing this visual focus can be supportive of balance. Or if more support might be needed, it's fine to move next to a wall or to place a hand on the back of a chair. When ready, shifting the weight onto the right foot and hip, extending the arms out to the sides, then lifting the left leg to the side, taking care to stay within the body's limits here, balancing on the right leg, breathing, including in awareness any thoughts or emotions that may be surfacing, as well as the sensations arising in the body. Taking care not to hold the breath, experience the effort that's alive here to remain upright and balancing. Noting any tensing that may not be needed, like in the jaw or across the forehead. Perhaps even smiling as the body balances. What, if anything, happens? Registering the presence or absence of ease. Taking a moment here to explore and play, including in awareness the effects of being playful or more serious as the experience continues to unfold. And when it feels right, lowering the left leg and returning the arms alongside the body. Releasing fully the weight of the body and the effort from this movement into mountain pose. And breathing. And now, moving the body's weight onto the left leg, then bringing the arms out to the side and lifting the right leg to the side. Focusing the gaze, steadying, breathing, attuning to what's happening in this moment. Noticing the sensations in the body as they surface, as well as deep into its interior. Exploring any differences that might appear in either side of the body. Noticing strength or weakness, a sense of ease or a particular challenge. Then lowering the right leg and arms when ready. If waiting to hear my instructions may require holding a pose for too long, trusting and following the body's cues to do what is needed and wise. Returning here to mountain pose and gently shaking out the body, releasing the effort. Pausing to acknowledge the effort that goes into each stretch, as well as the concentration needed to attend to the body in this way. Now repeating this balance pose again, perhaps a bit more quickly, and noticing the effects of this change in pacing. When ready, inhaling and shifting the weight to the right, bringing the arms and the left leg out to the side, pausing briefly, then exhaling and coming back into mountain pose. And on the next in-breath, shifting the weight of the body to the left, lifting the arms and the right leg out to the side, pausing, and on the out-breath, returning to mountain pose. Continuing here with the flow of the breath, shifting and raising the legs to the side while noticing the balance point. Pausing at the top of the breath, then returning and resting in mountain pose before lifting to the other side. Allow the breath to guide and support the movement, feeling deeply into the body's natural flow, extending, expanding outward, and then returning to center. each time pausing briefly in mountain pose, fully releasing the effort required to balance the body. Enjoying this moment's rest when returning to this center point. And now coming into relative stillness, returning to mountain pose and noticing all that's here. What's arising in the body now? And now moving into a standing twist. Bring the hands to the hip, resting on the waistline, keeping the pelvis and the legs steady, pointing straight ahead, gently twisting here from the waist to the right. Noticing whatever movement is available. This is fine. Just moving gently and with ease, breathing into this upper back twist. And when ready, moving again out of the twist, facing forward once again. And then moving in the opposite direction to the other side. Inhaling, gently turning to the left, again from the waist, allowing the hips to remain steady and stable, pointing ahead. Take a few breaths at the limits of this movement, then returning to center. Now exploring the possibility of a fuller twist, bringing the feet a little bit closer to one another. Now, when twisting again to the right, anchoring the twist into the feet and beginning the movement in the feet and ankles. Moving slowly up through the body, the ankles, knees, hips, spine, neck, head, and finally extending the movement with the eyes. Not forcing anything here, rather simply expanding awareness through the body and the depth of this twist, including awareness of the limits of this movement. Inviting sensitivity and curiosity, then returning when ready to center. Then moving to the left, anchoring again in the feet while allowing the body to gradually pivot from the ankles up through the body to the very top of the head. Attuning to the most prominent sensations. Noticing what's arising here in this moment. Recognizing the conditions of the mind. Feeling tones. Breathing in and through the entire twist. Then gently coming back to center. Resting the arms once again by the sides. Returning to mountain pose. Acknowledging the full range of effects from this twisting movement in the body. Moving on now to a forward bend. A note, if high blood pressure happens to be a concern, it would be wise to forego this pose. Instead, trying to imagine the movement instead of engaging in the pose itself. 2, if it's not possible to either touch or place the hands to the floor, consider positioning a chair in front of you, allowing the hands to come to rest wherever it is most comfortable today. This pose begins by bending the knees slightly, knees not locked, and with the hands resting at the hips. When ready, hinging forward from the hips while honoring the body's limits. Place the hands on the chair or on the shins or touching the floor as support while the shoulders, neck, and head are released downward with gravity. Continuing to breathe. with the feet strongly anchoring the body into the floor. Noticing the sensations of this stretch into the back of the legs. Inviting the torso to soften. Tuning in to the sensations arising throughout the body. Lingering as long as feels right in this moment. And when ready, coming up by bringing the arms out in front as the knees, while pressing the feet into the floor, hinging back up into the hips. This will help position the spine to come up in alignment. When in the standing position, allow the arms to reach up and stretch towards the sky. Pausing here to notice the whole length of the body, then slowly allowing the arms to float downward, coming to rest along the body. Returning to mountain pose after completing a forward bend. Opening again to the experience that is registering in the body now. Simply being present to what's here. Now moving to chair pose. Beginning this pose from mountain, raising both arms straight out in front of the body, parallel to the floor. Now, bending the knees gently as if to sit on a chair placed just behind, gradually lowering the body with the knees straight ahead and eyes forward. Only going here as far as is possible while ensuring the hips remain above the knees. Feeling the length of the spine, the movement in the chest as the body continues to breathe, and seeing whether it's possible to invite here the shoulders, the neck, jaw, eyes to soften a bit. Breathing as freely as possible. Pausing in the pose only as long as feels right today. Continuing in this way to explore the body and its limits. When ready, rising from this pose with care and kind attention. Noting the places in the body that are recruited to achieve this movement. Returning the body upright with the arms resting along the sides. Take a moment here, if it feels right, to shake out a bit, inviting any tension that arose from the intensity of the chair pose to release. This pose requires effort and strength. And the sequence of movements being practiced here are enhanced through awareness of the body, the thoughts, feelings, and the breath moment to moment. So now turning to tree pose, which is considered another balancing posture. To begin, direct the gaze once again to a fixed point directly ahead or to a spot on the floor a few feet in front of the body. Place the left foot at a 90-degree angle next to the right foot. Move the weight of the body onto the right hip, leg, and foot, firming the muscles of the entire right leg. Anchoring here into the floor. And when ready, lifting and placing the left foot anywhere along the inside of the right leg, perhaps against the ankle or the lower leg, or higher along the inside of the right thigh. Exercise care here to not press directly along the side of the right knee. The left knee extending to the left as the hips are balanced. Like a tree, the lower body here is stable, steady, maintaining a sense of balance while continuing to breathe. Then bring the palms of the hands together at the level of the heart. pressing the fingers evenly towards each other, chest and shoulders remaining open. And if it's possible, raising the hands straight up overhead, straightening the elbows while feeling anchored through the right foot, leg, and hip, stretching upward like a tree into the sky. Being with the body here just as it is now, balancing, perhaps wobbling. Moments when steadiness is changing and rebalancing. And when you're ready, coming out of the pose with care, lowering the arms to chest level, releasing the palms, placing the left foot gently against the floor, settling with the weight balanced across the feet and releasing any lingering tension in the lower body. Switching legs, lifting the weight of the body onto the left hip, leg, and foot, firming the muscles, establishing an anchor and a fixed focal point for the eyes. Begin by placing the right foot at a 90-degree angle to the left foot, then raising the right leg anywhere along the inside of the left thigh that's within the body's limits, maybe at the ankle or along the calf or the inner thigh. Establishing a sense of being anchored here as the body balances, bringing the palms of the hands together at the heart, meeting at the body's midline and using the support to stretch the arms overhead like the branches of a tree. Softening the face, maybe inviting a smile. When ready, lowering the arms, releasing the palms, and returning the right leg to the floor. Resuming mountain, allowing the effects of these balance poses on the body, on the mind, and the heart to register into awareness. Shifting now to a few seated poses, beginning with tailor pose. If available, using a small cushion or a blanket to provide support under the hips may be helpful to maintain the natural curve of the low back. While moving into a seated position on the floor, including this transition as an element of attention, an integral part of the yoga itself. When coming to the floor, inviting the awareness of the mountain pose to remain while being grounded. If sitting on a cushion or a blanket, placing the hips at the edge and inviting the spine to remain upright and long. The head centered gently over the shoulders, the pelvis neutral and balanced. Now, bringing the soles of the feet together as close to the groin as is possible in front of the body, allowing the knees to point outward to either side while pressing the feet together. Interlacing the fingers while grasping the feet, here allowing the weight of the legs to provide a gentle stretch to the inner thighs and groin, resisting any impulse to force the knees downward. Instead, let the weight of the legs and gravity itself support a gentle stretch, breathing through the entire torso. And now, placing the right leg out in front of the body while keeping the left leg bent and resting against the inside of the right thigh. Pausing for a moment to ensure the hips are even and the weight is evenly distributed right to left. With the in-breath, raising the arms overhead, lengthening from the spine and waist, breathing into the back ribs. Then, while exhaling, bending from the hips and extending the torso above the right leg, keeping the spine long. Softening here toward the right knee, any amount that may be possible. And just resting here in the stretch along the spine and back of the leg, placing the fingertips wherever along the leg or the floor that's within the body's current limits. neither straining nor pushing too far, trusting in the body's wisdom to signal how much is just enough for now. Breathing, inviting the shoulders to open, then pressing into the floor with the fingers, lifting the torso up with the spine in alignment, pausing, and switching legs. Now extending the left leg in front of the body, bending the right leg with the right foot resting against the inner left thigh, reaching the arms overhead, stretching forward and exhaling, keeping a long spine while bringing the torso out over the left leg, the fingertips meeting the leg or the floor wherever it is comfortable, aware of the entire body during this stretch, noting the mind, the emotions, and the movement of the breath. And when ready, pressing again into the hands, keeping the spine in alignment while bringing the body upright. Taking a moment here to pause and just rest. Then stretching both legs out in front of the body, gently moving and shaking them to release the effort. Gently laying back on the floor, removing any supports that may have been used, like a cushion or a blanket, and coming into lying down mountain or corpse pose. Taking some time and care here to stretch in any way that the body is asking for at this moment. As an example, maybe hugging the knees to the chest. Just moving here in any way that feels welcomed and right for the body. And when ready, shifting from movement into relative stillness, inviting the legs and feet to soften, perhaps the feet falling away from one another. Placing the arms along the sides of the body with the palms facing either up or downward toward the floor. Choosing here whichever position is most comfortable at this time. And letting go of any and all effort or exertion that might be lingering in the body from this sequence of movements. Releasing the full weight of the body into the support of the floor. Sensing the effects of gravity, holding the body in place. Registering the experience of being supported, of being held in this moment. Scanning through the body from the top of the head to the tips of the fingers and toes, to recognize and appreciate what is here. Recognizing the body and its capabilities as well as its limits. And pausing to honor the intention and willingness that supports being in the practice. For dedicating this time to practice, which offers the possibility to more fully know and see what is true, what is here, moment to moment.